Hey guys, this is William McGinn, and for those who are new to my channel, this is my first ever movie review where I'm going to be talking about it on YouTube instead of regularly blogging about it. And so I'm pretty excited about this. I graduate from university in 2 months, and I was thinking about then really doing this, but I just saw the Sonic movie and I decided, like, this is too good to pass up for a big movie review, especially while the iron is hot, you know? So I hope you really enjoy this. And this is my first review, so I'll do my best to keep you very entertained. This has been my most anticipated movie since Detective Pikachu, which is pretty funny. I guess I have a thing with video game movies that a lot of people must have felt that it would be ridiculous to make them, or maybe it would be such a long shot and making it would be so challenging that there was a very big chance it would flop and ruin any future ideas. But Detective Pikachu and this movie, I might add, they really defy that idea. So, a small recap, which is not very necessary considering all the advertising this movie has. This is a Sonic that's all by himself, no Tails, no Knuckles, no Shadow, none of the other ones, and instead he's been living on Earth for the past several years. It's a bit undisclosed how much. I suspect maybe 2 to 3 years. He's had to bounce back and forth between planets, actually, because his superpowers are so unique and so powerful that there are loads of beings that are out to get him. They're out to try to harness, experiment, and benefit from his powers. Now, a small little bit of background about me. I didn't really grow up with Sonic. I was more into, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and a bit of Ninja Turtles. And I still can't put my finger on why exactly Sonic wasn't really in my world. Maybe it was because whatever TV show was premiering when I was a child was not on any of the television channels I usually visited. And maybe I also felt like this world was so established that it was going to take a lot of time to really catch up. And I guess was also thinking about how Sonic was just so super powerful that it might seem like he can easily beat the bad guy every minute of every day if he wanted to. I guess I just didn't really get into it. But anyway, I was still very excited about this because after the second trailer came up and everyone was so pleased with it, like, I was really rooting for it to prevail at the box office too, because everyone who has ever heard of a computer mouse knows about the reaction of the first trailer and the first Sonic design. And, when the creators decided to spend an additional $5 million and an additional 3 months of animating to restructure Sonic, it really felt like true fan service. It really felt like fans were really listened to instead of disregarded as just hate mail, I really respected that. I feel like filmmakers should really try to do that more often in certain cases. But anyway, that might make it seem like I had a bias of optimism towards reviewing this film, but I still watched it and I say it's definitely a very riotously entertaining film, and a very just nice family treat at that. Something I really liked in this movie was the idea of being lonely. It was kind of like the same idea as the first Shrek, where both protagonists were in situations where they try to make the best of being by themselves, but they can't escape the fact that they're just lonely and they feel it's inescapable. There are lots of times where Sonic feels real dread, feels hopelessness. And this message of the importance of company, family, friends is kind of an irreplaceable message, This movie also has a lot of running and a lot of joking around. Joking around that is very effective, to the point where I feel like parents who are dragged to see this movie with their kids, they will have a pretty good time too. And there's nothing really too scary in this for little kids either. It's just a good definition of a family film, especially since when it does resort to the drama, it doesn't make fun of itself for being that way. And yes, there are loads of Quicksilver-esque scenes in here, and that is perfectly fine. I don't know if I would call it a forgery. Honestly, Quicksilver from the X-Men films, he established this concept of the faster you go, the slower time goes. But a Sonic movie that wouldn't incorporate that, it would just come off as a big disappointment. The film has a lot of standouts as well, especially Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. Now, I don't know how he got involved with this production, but the Robotnik he plays is loud, short-tempered, hyperactive, psychopathic, and narcissistic, and on top of that, just about irresistible. He seems to be having the time of his life playing this character, and we have the time of our lives watching him. I could an entire movie about Robotnik, just like how the minions from Despicable Me got their own movie. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more it really isn't far-fetched. Every scene Jim Carrey is in, he steals just like how his character steals the spotlight, steals the power from every single individual. Now, we don't get the origins of this Robotnik. Forgive me as someone who's coming in a little cold, but I never really got why this Robotnik was so power hungry. But still, Jim Carrey's performance is so good that we don't care about him being a low-layered antagonist. He's just so fun to watch at every single moment. There are so many ways this character depiction could have been cringeworthy, but Jim Carrey knocks it out of the park. Another standout is Ben Schwartz, who voices Sonic. Schwartz has voiced a lot of characters around. I don't know if he's very well known in Hollywood, though, and I get the idea that there would probably be a lot of actors that a lot of studios would be tempted to voice Sonic who are more higher up, kind of like how Ryan Reynolds voiced Pikachu, which made that movie even better. But still, Schwartz adds a personality and excitement of his own to this character which really fits for this brand new Sonic and the picture that he's in. He loves to chat till his heart's content, and he loves to chat very fast and very loud, just like all of his running. It really fits the bill for a hedgehog who's kind of happy that he now has quite the friend after a long time of having to be in the shadows, like the Ninja Turtles, you know? Now, it's far from the revolutionary Pokemon Detective Pikachu, which was #1 on my best list of 2019, even higher than Avengers Endgame and 1917 of all amazing movies. Pokemon Detective Pikachu was a literal dream come true. It respected anyone and everyone who had ever gotten interested in Pokemon. It established a world that I would never want to leave if I were able to visit it. It had a sensational plot centered around all sorts of past incarnations of Pokemon, and I bet there are a lot of Easter eggs in this Sonic movie, some I even caught as someone who has limited experience. But Pokemon Detective Pikachu is a masterpiece. It's like, it could be in my top 5 or maybe even top 3 favorite movies of all time at this point in life, the more I think about it. So I guess I wasn't expecting this Sonic to be as good. Instead, it centers for an ironically slower approach. It seems that it's developing a universe of its own around Sonic, and it's starting with one part. And it's going to settle for more in the future. You'll be able to tell after you see the film. And I had a mixed reaction to that. It gives the movie a digesting feel, which isn't a bad thing. Digesting, I would call it a compliment. It allows us to decide, okay, let's focus on this one story, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it, and we won't be exhausted with too many twists and turns to all their other various worlds. Still, it gave the impression that maybe there could have been more, but maybe that's just all of my prior anticipation talking. There's also the fact that this Sonic, just like all the other Sonics, does feel a little overpowered. It feels like he's rarely ever in real danger. It seems like he can bypass all sorts of stuff. And also, there's some times when James Marsden's character is running from some very powerful people, and we never get the impression that he's very worried, even though this running can imply it can have an impact on the rest of his life. I don't want to spoil too much, that's why I'm going around the edges. And also there's a character he has to interact with where I'm pretty sure she was supposed to recognize his name, considering he showed a badge with his name on it, and his name was kinda like, wouldn't be a good time to show that off around. But still, even if we feel there could have been more, especially since the film ends too quickly for me, after a very heartwarming ending, there is a mid-credits scene that really staples in the fact that this Sega studio, they really know what they're doing. They have people behind the camera who we can trust to really make a universe we can really be proud of. After Pokemon Detective Pikachu and this movie, I feel like the video game to movie adaptation world is in good hands. So my final grade for Sonic the Hedgehog is a B+. Now, thanks for watching my review. And before you go, if you haven't left already, For the past 5.5 years, I've been the owner of a site called Weldon Witness. It was named after my high school, i.e. Weldon, and a site I was like witnessing a lot. And now I'm working on a brand new site called williammcginnbooks.wordpress.com. I'm still figuring out the edges, but I would love to visit you there sometime. And within the next 2 months, I'm going to try to review at least one movie and one book, not just on that site, but here on YouTube for a little while. And I'm looking forward to giving it a shot with you. And I'd love to hear what you thought of Sonic the Hedgehog as well. So till next time.